Before I start this very story, I want to ask you a very honest question. Have you ever been looked down on by someone you loved just because you do not have money? And if that happened to you, what do you think it will do to your self-worth? Would you accept it, or would it push you to become somebody greater? Because that was exactly where my story began. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Here we'll bring to you amazing real life stories you can learn from. So do not forget to hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so that whenever I drop amazing video like this one, you'll be the first to get notified. When I got married, I didn't marry money. I married love, or at least that was what I believed at the time. Have you ever been so in love that you didn't think about financial status, background, or future securities? That was me. I believed love was enough. At the beginning, things were normal. We struggled together, we built slowly, we had dreams, and even though life was not easy, I didn't complain for one day because I believe we were a team. But slowly, things started changing, not in the world outside. His tone, his attitude towards me. He started making small comments. At first, I ignored them. Comments like, "You don't really contribute much. You are just at home. You depend too much on me." The more time passed, the worse it got. He started speaking to me like I was nothing, like I had no value, like my presence was optional. And one day, he said something I would never forget in a hurry. He looked at me and said, "If it wasn't for me, you would have nothing. You are useless without my money." Hey. But I didn't scream, I didn't fight, I didn't even argue. I just went silent. And do you know what silence does? Silence doesn't mean weakness. Silence means processing. Silence means thinking. Silence means planning. Because after that moment, something changed inside me permanently. I stopped seeing myself the way he described me. And I started asking myself a very important question. Is this really who I am? Let me ask you something. Have you ever been pushed so low that you start questioning your own value? Because that was me. But instead of staying there, I made a decision that changed everything that very day. If he thought I was useless, then I would prove him wrong. Not with arguments, not with shouting, but with results. So I started small, very small. I didn't tell him. I didn't announce it. I didn't ask for his permission. I started learning skills, business ideas, online opportunities, anything that could change my situation. I started building slowly, day by day, step by step, while still living my normal life at home. He had no idea, none at all. He still believed I was useless. He still believed I was dependent to him. He still believed I had no direction. But I was changing, quietly, strategically. Then something interesting happened. I got my first opportunity, a small job, then another one, and then another one. And I started growing financially, slowly at first, then faster. He started noticing changes. I was no longer asking him for everything. I was no longer dependent the way I used to be. I was becoming independent quietly. And instead of supporting me, he became so uncomfortable. One day he asked me, "What exactly are you doing?" Because I knew something he didn't know yet. I was building a future he didn't believe I could have. Then came the turning point for me. I entered a bigger opportunity, a business space, a professional environment, and I grew faster than anyone expected. And slowly, the same man who called me useless started realizing I was becoming someone else. But I didn't stop because I remember every word he said to me, every insult, every dismay, every moment I was made to feel small. And instead of letting it break me, I use it to fuel my strength. After I started growing quietly, something inside me began to shift. It was no longer just about proving a point. It became about building a life I could respect. Have you ever reached a point where you stop trying to prove yourself to someone and start proving yourself to you instead? That was me. I kept working, I kept learning, I kept improving myself every day. And slowly, my life started changing in ways I didn't even expect. At first, it was small progress, a better income, a new skill, a new opportunity, and then it started compounding. And I began to realize something very important. Growth is silent at the beginning, but loud at the end. Meanwhile, at home, nothing had changed in his attitude. He still spoke down on me sometimes, not as often, but it was still there. That habit of misunderestimating me had not disappeared yet. One day, he said something again, not as harsh as before, but still disrespectful. He said, "You are just trying to act something you are not." And I just look at him because by then I already grew something he didn't know yet. I was already becoming something he could not understand until it was too late. I worked hard. I stayed consistent. I paid attention. I learned faster than anyone around me expected. And slowly, I started rising higher. And then something happened. Something I never planned. Something I didn't announce. Something I didn't even expect. I got promoted. Not once, but twice. And suddenly, the same people who ignored me started noticing me. The same people who underestimated me started respecting me. And the same man who called me useless started seeing me differently. But here is the part that matters the most. He didn't know yet. At first, he had no idea what was happening in my professional life. To him, I was still just me, still the same woman, still independent. Then came the day everything became real. I was assigned a leadership role, a profession that requires authority, responsibility, and decision making. And guess what? He was indirectly connected to the same professional system, which meant we were now the same structure, but not the same level. The first time he saw my position, he didn't say anything, he just stared. Like he was trying to understand how everything changed without him noticing it. But I didn't celebrate it. I didn't mock him. I didn't bring up the past because the real growth doesn't need noise. I simply did my job professionally and calmly, and that was enough because my sources started speaking for me. Not my word, not my anger, not my revenge, and not even my results. At home, things also began to change. He became quieter, more observant, less dismissive because now he was beginning to see a version of me he never believed existed. But I didn't change for him. Let me make that very clear. I didn't grow to impress him. I grew to rebuild my life. And slowly, something inside him started breaking. Not loudly, but quietly, the same way my confidence was once broken. One evening, he asked me something differently again, something I didn't expect. Then he said, "How did you become all this?" And I just looked at him because the answer was simple. I didn't become this overnight. I became this step by step while no one was watching. And then came the final realization for him. I was no longer the woman he underestimated. I was no longer the woman he dismissed. I was no longer the woman he thought had no value. I had become someone he now have to respect, not because I demanded it, but because I earned it. And that is where my story truly ends. Not with revenge, not with shouting, not with drama, but with transformation. Today, when I look back, I don't feel anger. I don't feel bitterness. I don't feel the need to prove anything to anyone anymore because I understand something very important now. People don't rise because others believe in them. People rise because they decide to stop accepting limitations. So if you are listening to my story right now and someone has ever told you that you are useless, let me ask you one final question. Are you going to believe their own version of you, or are you going to build your own self? Because sometimes the greatest revenge is not destruction, it is becoming undeniable. This is what every woman should do. If you're a housewife, whatever you are, and you feel like you are being treated less, or you are being treated less than you deserve, please work on yourself. There are so many opportunities, so many. Go to the online space. You see so many things you can learn and build yourself. And also, this story is from one of my followers. So drop your comments, whatever you think about this story, whatever it is you have to say to her. Kindly drop it in the comment section. And also do not forget to subscribe, turn on your notification bell so that whenever I drop amazing video like this one, you'll be the first to get notified. See you on the next one. Bye for now.